This winter, darkness isn't coming. It's already here. Two legends whispered across generations. One born from nightmares, and one forged in the abandoned miles of forgotten tracks. They don't knock. They don't speak. They don't stop. Some say the Hat Man arrives when fear reaches its breaking point. A towering silhouette with eyes like burning frost, staring, waiting, claiming the moment you look away. And on the rails, when the fog turns thick as smoke, something begins to move. Something that does not belong to the living. The Railwalker. A figure that glides without sound, without mercy, and without stopping. Two forces, two shadows. One night where reality tears open and what slips out is hungry. This is not just a story, not just a legend. This is a warning. Welcome to Truly Scary. This is the Hat Man and the Railwalker, Episode 3.
There is a moment, a thin, fragile moment, between dreaming and waking up, where the world feels wrong, where the air feels heavier, where the dark feels occupied. You open your eyes, your body won't move, your breath catches in your throat, and then you see him, a tall, black silhouette, standing in your doorway, perfectly still, perfectly shaped, perfectly aware of you. He's wearing a wide-brimmed hat. His outline is sharp against the darkness, and even though he has no face, you feel him looking at you. Not curious, not confused, just patient. A shadow that watches, a presence that lingers, a visitor who arrives when you are most vulnerable and leaves you wondering if he was ever gone at all.
The Hat Man isn't like other shadow figures. He doesn't flicker. He doesn't blur. He doesn't melt into the wall when you blink. He stands with purpose. He stands with awareness. He stands like someone who has been watching you for a very, very long time. People describe him the same way. Tall, solid black, wide-brimmed hat, long coat, no face, no eyes, no sound, just presence. And the strangest part, he doesn't feel like a dream. He feels like an intruder.
The visitor in the night. Most encounters begin the same way. A person wakes up or thinks they wake up in the middle of the night. Their body is frozen. Their chest feels heavy. Their mind is alert but trapped. This is sleep paralysis, a state where the brain wakes, the body doesn't, and the boundary between dream and reality dissolves. But here's the part that unsettles researchers. Sleep paralysis hallucinations are usually chaotic, personal, symbolic, and fragmented. The Hat Man is none of those things. He is structured, he is consistent, he is recognizable. He is the same man seen by thousands of people who have never met, never shared stories, never lived in the same country. That's not normal. That's not expected. That's not easily explained.
A presence without a past. Unlike La Llorona or Bloody Mary, the Hat Man has no origin story, no ancient myth, no cultural birthplace, no early written accounts. He simply appears. In the late 20th century, reports began surfacing, quietly at first, then in waves. A child in Brazil sees him standing in the doorway. A teenager in South Africa wakes to find him at the foot of the bed. A man in Germany sees him leaning over his sleeping wife. A woman in Texas sees him in the hallway, and so does her entire family. Different continents, different languages, same figure. A shadow with a hat. A silhouette that feels deliberate.
Theories that don't comfort anyone. There are 4 major theories about the Hat Man, and none of them are comforting. Number 1, the sleep paralysis entity. The scientific explanation. A shared hallucination created by the brain under stress. But this theory collapses when people see him while fully awake. Multiple people see him at the same time. He appears during daylight. He moves with intention. Hallucinations don't behave like that. Number 2, a shadow person with rank. In paranormal circles, shadow figures have a hierarchy. The Hat Man is considered the most intelligent, the most aware, the most purposeful. He's not a random shadow. He's a visitor. Number 3, a tulpa. A being created by collective belief. The more people talk about him, the more people see him. But that raises a question. If we created him, why does he feel older than us? Number 4, an interdimensional watcher. Some experiencers say he reacts to them. He leans closer when they're afraid. He appears during trauma. He shows up before major life changes. This theory suggests he's not a hallucination, but a presence that steps into our world when the veil is thin. A watcher, a sentinel, a collector of moments we don't want witnessed.
Children see him first. Children report the Hat Man more than adults. They describe a man in a hat standing in the doorway, a shadow that doesn't move, a figure who watches him sleep, a presence that feels heavy but not always evil. Some say he visits repeatedly. Some say he grows closer each time. Some say he tips his hats before disappearing. And here's the part that chills parents. Children describe him before they ever hear the legend. No influence, no suggestion, just a shared memory of a man who shouldn't exist.
The hat tip. One of the strangest details in Hat Man encounters is the hat tip. Dozens of people report the same thing. He stands still, he watches, and then he tips his hat. A gesture of acknowledgement, recognition, almost amusement. Then he vanishes. This is the detail that makes him feel sentient. Not a dream, not a hallucination, a presence. A presence that knows you saw him.
The rooms of the dying. Nurses around the world report seeing the Hat Man in hospital rooms, especially near patients who are close to death. He stands in the corner. He watches. He doesn't move. Some believe he's a harbinger. Others think he's a guide. Some say he's simply waiting. But the consistency of these reports is chilling. He appears when life is fragile, when the boundary between worlds is thin, when the room feels crowded with things you can't see.
If you see him, the Hat Man is one of the most unsettling modern legends because he doesn't behave like a legend. He has no story, no motive, no origin. He simply exists. In bedrooms, in hospitals, in childhood memories, in the corner of your eye, when you're too tired to trust your senses. And whether he's a hallucination, a shadow person, or something we don't have a name for yet, he feels real to the people who see him.
There's a sound you hear when you walk along old train tracks. Not the rails themselves. Those are dead. It's something else. A loose bolt, a shifting tie, or footsteps. A man who goes by the name Daniel was walking home from a late shift last spring. He cut across an abandoned spur line, the kind of shortcut you only take when you're too tired to care. Halfway across, he heard someone behind him, matching him step for step. He turned around, and there, maybe 50 yards back, was a figure, tall, thin, standing perfectly still on the rails. Daniel said that figure didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even seem to breathe. But when Daniel whispered, "Who's there?" the figure whispered it back. Same words, same tone, just further away. Tonight, we're talking about the Railwalker, a legend that doesn't chase you, doesn't hunt you, it just walks. And waits for you to notice it's been there the whole time.
Every town has a place people avoid after dark. Bridge, a tunnel, a stretch of woods. But rail lines, they're different. They're liminal by design, built for motion, built to connect places. And when they fall silent, something about them feels wrong, like they're still waiting for something to pass through. The Railwalker is one of those legends that lives in the quiet places, the forgotten places, and the people who've seen him don't forget.
Let's start with what people say they've seen. A gaunt male figure, always on the rails, never stepping off, never turning, never stopping. He walks abandoned lines, industrial spurs, overgrown commuter routes, the skeletons of old freight corridors.
So one night when I was driving, I saw this guy. Looked like he was heading home, but he didn't react when I yelled out to him. He didn't look up. He just kept walking, the same pace, same rhythm. It almost felt like if he was on a loop.
Just last night, while I was walking my dog, I was walking parallel to the tracks, and he matched me, and no matter how fast I walked, it felt like he was always the same exact distance behind me.
As I was walking home late last night, I passed him and I said hello. He said it back, but it sounded like it came from a tunnel.
Hello.
Like it traveled a long way before reaching me.
The mimicry is one of the most disturbing parts of the legend. Not communication, not a threat, just confirmation.
To understand the Railwalker, you have to understand the places he appears. Rail lines are strange. They're built to be traveled, not lived in. When they fall silent, they become liminal corridors, long, straight paths through nowhere. Psychologists talk about industrial ghosts. The feeling of abandoned infrastructure still holds the memory of motion. The Railwalker fits that perfectly. A figure bound to a path that no longer leads to anywhere.
There's no single origin story for the Railwalker, just fragments, whispers, and each one feels like it could be true. Theory 1. The Lost Conductor. A conductor walking home after a derailment, dazed, bleeding, trying to follow the rails back to town. He never arrived. Some say he still walks the line he died on. Theory 2. The Track Inspector. A night inspector checking a faulty section of track. A silent, coasting train approached from behind. He never heard it. Now he walks forever, inspecting a line that no longer exists. Theory 3. The Liminal Entity. Some believe the Railwalker was never human, that he's something older, something that uses rails as boundaries, a path between worlds. He doesn't leave the tracks because he can't. Theory 4. The Echo of Motion. And then there's a symbolic theory that the Railwalker is an echo, a manifestation of every person who vanished along rail lines over the last century, a ghost made of ghosts.
Every legend has rules, and the Railwalker's rules are consistent across stories. He never leaves the tracks, he never turns, he never changes pace. He always maintains the same distance behind you. And if you step on the tracks, the stories get quieter, more hesitant, Like people don't want to say what happens next.
Why does this legend hit so hard? Because it taps into primal fears. Being followed, being watched, being mirrored, being unable to escape something that doesn't tire, the dread of persistence. The Railwalker doesn't chase, he doesn't lunge, he doesn't scream, he just keeps walking, and that is worse.
The Railwalker is a legend of motion, of repetition, of inevitability. He doesn't hunt. He doesn't choose. He simply follows the path laid out for him. A path built by human hands and abandoned by human progress. And maybe that's why he feels so real. Because we created the rails. We created the silence. And something stepped into it. If you ever find yourself walking along an old line of dusk, and you hear footsteps behind you, don't turn around. Don't speak. Don't acknowledge him. Because once he knows your pace, he never forgets it.
You've reached the end, but the nightmare isn't done with you. The Hat Man is already moving. His shadow is stretching across your floor. His brim is widening. His eyes are open. And the Railwalker, he's not on the tracks anymore. He's off them. He's in the dark behind you, counting every step you take. You can turn off the episode, but you can't turn off what followed you out. This was truly scary. If you're hearing this, it's already too late.